critical emergencies, like cardiac arrests or missing person cases, time is the primary obstacle to a successful outcome. Traditional response systems rely on heavy infrastructure that is often too far away. Ground patrols are slowed by neighborhood grids and traffic, while police helicopters, though highly capable, require significant time to fuel, crew, and deploy from a central hangar. These delays have a measurable cost. High-speed police vehicle pursuits, often initiated to close the gap on a suspect, result in hundreds of deaths every year. Similarly, EMS units delayed by urban congestion face a critical deficit when trying to reach trauma victims. Public safety drones provide a workaround. Launching from automated stations near the scene and flying point to point, they arrive with life-saving tools in just 70 seconds. Moving from a reactive, ground-based approach to an immediate aerial intervention gives responders a tool that consistently outpaces the progression of a crisis. To be effective, however, a drone must be purpose-built. A department's success depends on matching the specific airframe to the unique requirements of the mission. Multi-rotor platforms are the standard for urban environments. Their ability to hover in place and maneuver through tight spaces makes them ideal for crime scene analysis and monitoring incidents in high-density areas. For vast rural searches or border patrols, responders utilize fixed-wing drones. These trade agility for higher speeds and long-endurance batteries, allowing them to cover hundreds of miles on a single charge. Hybrid platforms bridge the gap between these two designs. They use rotors for vertical takeoff and landing in confined spaces, but transition into high-speed forward flight to handle extended surveillance missions. While selecting the correct airframe dictates the operational range, the actual work of the rescue is performed by the specific technology attached to that frame. We categorize this technology by its function. Active payloads are the persistent sensors used to gather intelligence and maintain overwatch from the moment the drone arrives. This simulation shows how thermal imaging works. By detecting heat signatures, responders see through visual barriers like thick smoke or total darkness. LiDAR payloads upgrade this vision further. Bouncing laser pulses off the environment creates highly accurate 3D point cloud maps of disaster zones. Beyond sensory data, active payloads include high-powered spotlights to illuminate a scene and two-way loudspeakers, which allow operators to broadcast instructions to crowds or guide victims to safety. These active systems convert a chaotic crisis into a data-rich environment, allowing ground officers to assess threats from the air before exposing themselves to potentially deadly ambushes. While sensors provide data, dispensable payloads provide physical intervention. These are life-saving items carried by the drone and released directly to people in need. Using automated release systems, drones deliver medical lifelines like AEDs, EpiPens, and Narcan to patients minutes before ground EMS units can navigate through city traffic. During floods or swift-water rescues, drones deploy emergency flotation devices. Dropping buoyancy directly to a drowning victim can sustain them until a rescue boat arrives. As the payload is delivered, dispatchers use the drone's two-way audio to instruct bystanders on how to use the medical tools, ensuring the medical intervention is administered correctly. By putting the necessary medical tools and expert instruction into the hands of a civilian, dispensable payloads close the time gap that often makes the difference between life and death. To see this toolkit in action, consider the search for a child lost in a massive, hostile wilderness. In this terrain, traditional ground searches are often hopelessly outmatched by the scale of the environment. In these scenarios, the clock is the greatest threat. Ground searchers are hours away, and as the temperature drops below freezing, the risk of exposure increases every minute. Instead of waiting for foot patrols, responders deploy a multi-rotor drone with a thermal payload. By scanning the landscape from the air, the operator isolates the child's body heat in just 20 minutes. The drone then activates high-intensity strobe lights, acting as a beacon that guides ground rescue teams directly to the child's exact coordinates. The combination of rapid deployment and specialized thermal payloads, in this case, directly averted a death by exposure. This visualization highlights the first core advantage of the drone: speed. By bypassing ground infrastructure and flying in a straight line, they reach the scene exponentially faster than a vehicle. Second, they provide safety. Aerial overwatch gives ground units a clear view of unknown threats before they enter high-risk zones. Third, they provide an immediate lifeline. Dropping medical payloads ensures that treatment begins the moment a victim is located.
Without these capabilities, historical disasters have proven that victims remain stranded for days when terrain becomes impassable and ground logistics fail. Modern public safety drones have become the foundational infrastructure for the future of emergency response, not as observation platforms, but as active participants that deliver data, communication, and medical care the moment it's needed most.